was peculiar about the scene that we all noticed was that all of the bodies were found in virtually the same position, face down in the bed, arms above their heads.
I can't think of how we can explain this away, how he did these 6 murders without any one of them hearing these shots and reacting to the shots.
When I heard the details and I finally knew the whole story, it just helped me to understand that big, huge puzzle of how evil does personify itself.
6 members of the family were found last night in bed, shot and killed.
The fact that he was able to shoot all 6 of them and no one going to the aid of anyone else, and no one of those 6 hearing that shot and trying to get away, that doesn't add up at all.
The theory was that some of these ghosts of the Indians who were buried there had arisen from the dead and held them down or were accomplices in some way.
I know the house made him do it. I'm positive of that.
I don't believe there were any ghosts in that house. I don't think there ever were. And I know there's not any there now.
Nothing else can do that other than the intelligence of something inhuman.
I'm Ken Greguski. I'm the former chief of police at Amityville Police Department.
My name's Dr. Howard Edelman. I became the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner in Suffolk County.
My name is Lorraine Warren, and along with my husband Ed, I have been involved in the research and study of supernatural and preternatural phenomena for well over 50 years. The one case that stands out in my mind as one of the most interesting and probably the most bizarre is a home in Amityville, Long Island, where Ronald DeFeo killed every member of his family.
I was on call for homicide cases that evening, and I got a call from the medical examiner's office, so I took off to this house in Amityville.
It was approximately 6:40 in the evening on November the 13th, 1974. I received a radio call to respond to Ocean Avenue with possible murders.
When I walked in the house, I met all of the detectives, and we laid out the plan of how we were going to investigate these murders.
When I got to the house, I seen Ronald DeFeo Jr. standing outside with a few of his friends, and I asked him what happened, and he said his mother and father were killed. And I checked the upstairs bedrooms, and I found Mr. and Mrs. DeFeo laying face down in their beds. Both had been shot in the back. I checked the second bedroom and found out that Ronald's 2 younger brothers, both laying in their beds, face down, had been shot in the back. And at that time, Ronald DeFeo said to me that he also has 2 sisters. I went back up to the second floor and found in another small bedroom the younger sister. She had been shot in the head. And I left that room and I went up to a 3rd floor where there was another 2 bedrooms. And in one of those bedrooms I found the older sister, and she had been shot in the head. Ronnie at that point, when I came back down, and it was just he and I in the kitchen, he said he couldn't imagine who may have done this or why it was done. At the time, he didn't seem too upset about the whole thing to me. Now, I don't know I don't know if he had been drinking or if he was possibly on drugs or anything else, but he seemed to be pretty mild and pretty calm about the whole situation. He didn't seem that distraught like anybody you would normally think would be.
Since each of the murders was in a separate bedroom, we had to regard each bedroom as a separate homicide scene. After we had explored each of the rooms, one at a time, we were amazed that all of the bodies were found face down with their arms extended. We knew that they were all in this position at the time they were shot because the entrance and exit holes of the bullets matched with where they left the body and entered the mattresses. It almost had the appearance that they were being held at bay or told to be in a certain position at that time. And this led to a lot of armchair detective work, not only on our part, but conspiracy theorists later on, when I testified that I didn't think that he acted alone.
They come running into the bar and said that mother and father are shot.
I've been to a lot of crime scenes. I've never seen anything like this.
I just can't understand how he could do this on his own, having all these people laying in a face-down position, except for the fact that the night of the murders, we had a terrible storm and there was a lot of lightning and thunder, so that may have covered the shots.
Even if they were sleeping, the report of the weapon that was used is supposed to be so loud that it would have, so to speak, almost awakened the dead.
Is that the murder weapon, sir?
Yes. 35 caliber rifles, a loud firearm. They don't make silencers for rifles like this. And yet nobody heard a single shot.
Evil can personify itself in any way it sees fit. It can block out sound. It can influence us. It can reach us on levels that we are not even aware of. I believe the origin of evil there has to do with the grounds itself. That is what I feel. Because there was another home there before that home was ever built. That home was moved away because it was said to have some sort of paranormal activity occurring in it. And yet, nothing is occurring where it is now.
Supposedly, at least according to the book, this had been on the site of an old Indian burial ground, and people have surmised that some of the ghosts of these deceased Indians came out and played a part in the massacre that occurred there.
I don't believe in evil spirits or the fact that some people say that when there's an evil spirit around, it will contain sounds and everything else in one particular area. I'm not a believer. I can't believe that. I just can't see that happening. You have to be scientific about this. I mean, there's a loud noise, you're going to hear a loud noise.
How could that whole family be murdered, going from one floor to another in that house? Nobody is waking up. No neighbor is hearing a high-powered rifle. And the houses are so close to each other.
To this day, as far as I know, none of those people were drugged. So why someone wasn't able to get out of that house, it's beyond belief.
We did extensive toxicology, not only on the blood and urine, but on all of the organs that we removed, and it turned up 0, that there wasn't anything in their body. So they were cold sober at the time they were murdered.
I would have assumed that he did have an accomplice, but that's never been proven, and we haven't found any evidence to indicate that.
What a phenomenal master plan by the demonic. I walked into that home, I knew that I was dealing with a tremendously powerful evil force. Evil that doesn't always personify itself in a home like that. So I took a relic, was only a second-class relic of Padre Pio, tight in my hand, and asked for his guidance with discernment in this home. As I walked throughout the house with my husband, Ed, I remember walking into the front room, and in that room I could see what appeared to me to look like bodies all wrapped, all in a line. And I thought, oh my God, how awful, how awful, how awful. And I remember holding that relic tight in my hand and just saying a little prayer to myself. And then they asked if I would go on to the second floor. So I started to go up the stairs. It was frightening. It was intimidating. I said, I hope this is as close to hell as I'll ever get. I went into Missy's room, and I'm looking at furniture there, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that some of that furniture belonged to the DeFeo family. And I thought, oh my God, just a frightening feeling, like you're looking over your shoulder. It felt like whatever was there was just totally taking over my mind, and so that it was hindering what I was there to do, which was to discern and investigate. I left that room and went across the hall. I stood there looking at that mirrored tile wall, and I sat on the bed. I sat on the bed where Mr. and Mrs. DeFeo were shot to death. I realized I was in a home that was kind of like the ultimate in the personification of evil. Something that would affect you on your weakest, most vulnerable level. Anybody, wouldn't matter who you were. And it was a battle to keep your peace in that home, because what was there could break you down so easily. So easily you could be broke down in that house. Then Ed said to me, will you walk down in the basement? Will you, honey? Will you go down into the basement area with me? And when I went down there, I realized that Ronnie DeFeo was involved in some very evil stuff.
I was in the basement of that house, and I don't remember seeing any big red rooms or anything else. I know there was a little storage closet under the staircase, but other than that, the basement wouldn't be any more irregular than most normal basements.
I can't blame Ronald DeFeo. I can't blame him, because I feel that he was vulnerable in some way. Was it drugs? Was it alcohol? Was it a combination of both? Was it his whole state of mind? Was it his relationship with his father? It was a combination of everything that makes you vulnerable. And at that time, you can be used. He was used. Maybe he wasn't all to blame.
I was told afterwards from the investigation that the oldest son who did the murders had tried to extort money from his father in a previous episode and had a loaded gun and put the gun to his father's head to try and coerce him to give him some money. The father refused, and Ronald Jr. pulled the trigger. The gun did not go off, and his father found religion. Which is understandable.
The Amityville house was the most haunted house we were ever in.
I was never in that house when the seances were being held and where these, what do they call them, parapsychics came in to check for evil spirits and everything else. There's another thing I don't believe in, not wholeheartedly anyway.
Well, my gut reaction to the idea of ghosts and houses being haunted is that I just don't believe that there are such things as haunted houses and ghosts. I keep saying that I have been more intimate with the family, having performed all of the autopsies, and I have never been spooked.
What caused the family to be murdered? What caused another family to flee?
The only one who has the answer to the mystery is Ronnie DeFeo. Whether or not he'll ever come clean and give us the whole story, who's to say? He may, he may not. We'll never know.
The best protection that the devil has is a skeptical public.